You'll write to me every day.
Of course.
You
I don't think there's been any play where I haven't said this phrase as much as I did with Meta, which was, "This is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever done."
He was just so ambitious. Like, he'd say stuff and we'd be like, "Yeah, all right." Like, I don't think we thought like every idea that he had would actually happen, but it has.
It's been the best experience
Ever.
in terms of a show that I think
Yeah.
I've ever been involved in.
It's nice to be in a production that, you know, makes an impact.
Not only is it in a completely different venue to anything that any of the theatre societies perform in, but it was in the Round, and it was Promenade, and it had about 22 members of cast.
Yeah.
And in a massive space which had to be lit, and there were sound effects and like everything, every single most ambitious thing Tim could possibly do, he did.
And the pool. And the pool.
I'm not my own, it's not my choice.
I found the show at camp, which is where I'm going, and I watched it and I loved it, and I kind of knew we were onto a winner when I saw a 7'2" technical member named Big Mike crying at the end of it, and I thought, wow, if this can move someone as huge as Big Mike, then there's definitely something in this. Then I read it, and I loved it, and I lent it to Angela, and Angela was really the one who gave me the kick up the backside to say, you should really pitch this, and then that day I made a few panicked phone calls to ask if I could pitch.
I was sat on the theatre group committee as president when Tim and Joey pitched this project. Certainly, for me, it was like something we really couldn't pass up.
Don't be afraid of the cold, they'll inherit your blood. I put my water to the wish, after me, flood.
Oh my God! Shut up.
We started the first rehearsal off, and I had my models on my piece of paper, and this is where like the pool is, and this is where the exit is, and the balcony's over there. And
Whenever we rehearsed in a different space, we had to always get our bearings, and Tim would be like, right, the pool's here, the balcony's here, and it was difficult, like sort of
visualising it.
Yeah, visualising it. A lot of the time, I didn't even know. I had no idea what was actually going to happen when we got in there, because I just couldn't understand what it was like.
Well, like the biggest room we would go in was the Board House in Monty.
Yeah, that was quite
and
useful.
it's quite big, and there were some levels that happened to be at the same place.
Yeah, that
We'd
was
have to build the set each time to build a pool of chairs. Kind of thing.
Yeah, the first time we had the pool, wasn't that like the week of the show? You know, we didn't.
Yeah,
actually get to rehearse
we
with
never
the
really had a
still.
pool, like a
Yeah.
pool constructed.
And then when we got in the cube, like, we were used to like 2-second walks, so having to like speed up to get to the other side of the cube.
when we got to the end of sort of production, we could be in any lecture room, and I'd say, pool's there, balcony's there, go, and they were just going to scatter, and they would know where they were meant to be at, and it was awesome.
I think in a way, the fact that we weren't in the cube from very early on perhaps helped us. It sort of gave us a bit more freedom as to perhaps where we could go and how we could interact with the audience. Although we've got sort of fixed start and ending points, we can sort of make our own way through the audience to those. And I think if we'd done too much rehearsals in the cube, then potentially we would have, I don't know, it might have been a bit rigid and tried to push through the audience, or we perhaps didn't need to.
I think actually rehearsing in the cube later on actually helped us, because I think if we hadn't done that, it would have gotten very stale very quickly.
The audience plays such a role within the play as well. They're almost like they are in the play. The cast performs around them. They're in the performance space itself, and they create. As they move around, they change that space themselves.
Yeah, every time.
So it is kind of the ultimate audience participation because they form part of the set.
The number of people I buzzed through or hugged or shook hands with, it was so good.
It's a unique experience, the set we've got, and really, one just couldn't know what it was going to be like until that opening night when we actually had the audience. But it's a fantastic experience, and I'm really glad we've done it that way.
It's better than the extra line.
Take off your shirt.
I reference
I remember my rehearsal the day before. It was we didn't have the cube because there was a film on, so we had to move out of the theatre on Monday night and go into education. And we couldn't obviously have a pool in because it was in the education building. So instead of having the pool water, I just had cups of water which I just throw over different members when they were meant to get wet. So they'd know when to change, and you'd still see like each other.
Yeah, they weren't impressed with that.
Yeah, they loved me for that, especially Skippy, who I just drenched.
Lost a few friends.
Yeah. Facebook, numbers counting down as the rehearsal goes on.
It's really good that we're always in the stage of sorts, whenever, no matter what. So it's quite. You always have to be in the sort of character or the sort of zone. You know what I mean? There's no switching in and out except when you're changing, and even then you're still listening to what's going on. You're very much involved in the play, which is really good because most of the time in shows you switch off with things that aren't anything to do with you. But here you're always in there. You see how people develop over the night as well. So you're thinking, wow, yeah, he gave a really good performance, or oh yeah, I think this could have been done. You know, things like that. So you're so much more interactive, basically.
Well, yeah, we always have to
We're
be
always in character. I mean,
yeah.
we're in different characters. So, although we are Q&A,
You'll be a narrator sometimes. Or...
yeah, you're sometimes a narrator, and I'm too small. I'm servant and servant for different people, and so they're different characters. We're not actually people. We're like gods, but we're like an idea.
Yeah, we're more. I don't know what we are really. We're kind of like
A concept.
Yeah.
We're there. No, we're also. It's like I'm chaos and she's order.
I'm order. I'm also the scientist in this as well. Who
So-
like describes how the Earth started and stuff.
Yeah.
Having to wander throughout the show, it's a little challenging in a way. Fortunately, there are points where I'm able to go off stage and sort of take a breather, which is helpful, but in a sense it's actually easier to stay in one character through the whole show rather than have to do bits of narration, change characters as the other actors do. So it has its pros and cons.
I got to play a girl, a boy, and a nymph, which I thought was suitably confusing. I really like the fact that I got to interact with the audience, particularly for things like Oriad. I got to really creep people out. I scared someone's little brother.
I remember the first time. I was told I was Cinerat, and I was told what my part entailed. And I was told my character's daughter, was going to be a girl called Hannah. And so there was the first time meeting all the people. And it was like, okay, there's Irene, nice to meet you, Irene. Okay, that's Alex, nice to meet you, Alex. Hannah. Ah.
Hannah.
I'm Tom. Oh, Tom.
For clarification, in the story, daughter, father,
and intimate relationships ensue.
Yeah.
Incestuous. In the audition, it was mirrored speech. So when I read it, I was like, right, girl wants to sleep with her dad. Okay, this play's gonna be cool, you know.
I like the fact that I start the play. I do love that. As to what I'm saying, sometimes it's a bit harder for me to fully comprehend sometimes. But I like Sarah's. I love Sarah's. I think it's just highly amusing, you know. I'm mad at you, so I'm going to make you eat your leg. That works.
I'm playing the god of wine and theatre and just general debauchery. It was fun, but challenging at the same time, to go from comedy and drunk and light-hearted to the sort of seriousness at the end.
The play changed so much from the read-through to the final thing, as it always does, I
Definitely.
suppose.
Definitely.
But I didn't know any of Ovid's Metamorphoses stories before this play. And still, like, even after the first read through, I was still like, there were so many things in the play that I'd never noticed until like the final performance. Like, so many little things, because there's a lot in there. There's so much in there. There's so much kind of extra direction Tim put in there as well.
Like Freddie, like being drunk in the background.
Oh, no.
Looking to come on.
Yeah, that bit of Midas.
No one was ever looking at him, but he'd be getting his tunic like caught onto railings and like pulling things off and falling over. And I love the little bits where, you know, not everyone saw, but if you did see them, they were so good. So yeah, those are my favourite bits, I think.
Well, yeah, the little bits that escape people's notice. Favourite scene. I did really love Pomona and Vertumnus. I think everyone loved that.
I loved I think
so
that was one of
funny.
my favourite scenes, actually. Pomona and Vertumnus, you're right.
And the bit of Midas, which has like the end of Midas, which has Murray and Marcus and Freddie and Jill in it. That end bit is so funny. There's so much comedy in that whole bit.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Definitely.
I like Orpheus and Eurydice. I know it's pretty sad, but I love the way that they just keep turning and it goes and it turns. Oh, that's my favourite scene, definitely.
My favourite story is Alcyone and Ceyx. My favourite way it's done is Phaeton. I really like Chris playing the piano.
Yeah, I was really disappointed at first because in the script, the Phaeton scene is Phaeton on a lilo in the middle of the swimming pool, and I thought that would have been amazing, but I'm so glad they didn't, because the way they do it at the bar and with Midas walking through and sitting at the bar,
I love Midas walking.
I think it's phenomenal, and it really does. Well, TJ and Nick really come to life. It's fantastic.
And Skippy and piano.
I like different ones for different reasons, like.
But the sex, Alcyone and Ceyx and the ship in the water.
Yeah, that's really effective.
Really good.
And like the big bay, like.
I love doing that because you get the big bass noise, and the first time they did it, it was so low. They were scared that the concrete blocks holding in the ceiling.
Yeah, we're gonna fall.
We're gonna vibrate and fall down because it was so.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to the NSTF people who came to see it, they were like, yeah, there are certain laws and limits on how low and loud a bass can be, and I think he broke them. So yeah,
too good.
But that's my and yeah, it rumbles and they're all splashing about and the big the men have lost their belief in their captain.
Yeah, that bit's really good to watch. I also like Orpheus and Eurydice, although I hate being in the hell position because it's so painful after a rock. I'm on a ladder and like all twisted.
We're supposed to be in torture twisted
yeah,
thing
whilst humming.
So
but I think to watch, that's really emotional. I think that's quite a nice one to watch.
I think it has to be the final scene. It's a really powerful moment when I'm reunited with my daughter. After all that wandering throughout the show, to finally have that moment, it really is powerful, and I hope the audience feel it, as much as I felt it.
Favourite moment was definitely the music change in Q&A. When it goes from Polly Polysma's Perfect 4/4 to David Gray's This Year's Love, after sort of the moment where she's sort of released from her tasks from Aphrodite. I just like that. It was good for me. That and the crazy speech at the beginning of every performance. Yeah, that was good to do every time. Just yelling my heart out. It was fun.
No one could actually hear him.
No, not usually. It was
basically what would happen is Tim had decided that there was this great piece of music they should all listen to, that you'd be able to hear as the audience through the doors before they went in. It would inspire the cast. And while it was going on, while it was going on, Tim would go around and give this inspiring troop speech. And now my heart stumbles on things I don't know.
Before we start each show, we play a piece of music.
I love the speech.
The speech. And there's a piece. It's called "Awake My Souls" by Mumford & Sons, and Tim always gives us a motivational speech through this song, and he just starts shouting and screaming and telling us how much he loves us.
How he believes in us.
And how we do so well.
And you think it's like cheesy, but you're there, you're like,
yeah, you're just like, oh yeah,
I'm ready for this.
Yeah, in our little balls facing the wall, like, yeah, this is good.
When we first cast the show, we had the read-through, and it was amazing. It was really, really fun. But just after that, we had this moment of 2 weeks of kind of like just nothing, where we had people in different shows, we had Footloose going on, so we couldn't rehearse, and I was in my own head thinking, right, I've got a cast, we've got a venue, we've got a budget, we've got all the parts we need, but how's it going to sort of quite assemble together? And I couldn't quite put my finger on what it could have needed. And I was walking to Joey's house after you got back from Egypt with my iPod in my ears, and I put on Jake Shimabukuro's On My Guitar Gently Weeps, which is the track that plays in Hades first time round. And I heard it and I sort of stopped. I sort of sat on the stairs and I listened to it again. And it was kind of at that moment I thought, yeah, this show's gonna be fucking good.
Still recording this? Oh, great.
In these bodies we will live. In these bodies.
I don't think there is any experience that can
compare.
quite match up to the experience Tim Berryman creates when you're in one of his
We
shows.
still haven't said if this is good or not.
What? Oh. Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, a bit odd.
Tim's been great all the way. He's been really supportive. You know, just a pleasure to work for, really.
It's been amazing. Like, the cast is brilliant in general. Like, they're all just really distinct characters in themselves. So there's been a lot of bonding and, like, you know, little inside jokes that make everything just worth doing and actually worth coming to. So you're always looking forward to going to, like, rehearsals and things like that.
There was such a bond with the cast, and there was this enthusiasm and energy and spark, and everyone had, you know.
I don't know how he does it. He just creates an incredible.
He just does. Everyone just wants to do well.
It's gone really well, I think.
Yeah, it was a really ambitious idea, but it's really paid off. I think I've had lots of people saying it's the best thing they've seen literally do. So
I've learned so much from Tim and Joey. I think they've been fantastic, and I'm so going to steal all of Joey's games if I ever get the chance to direct and claim them as my own because they're so good.
Not only that, because Tim's the director and the producer, he's got a kind of a single vision driving the show.
It was a fabulous production, and that was very much driven by you, because I know at times I was just like, let's just leave this bit doesn't need it, it'll be fine with it, and you drove for it and it turned up and I thought it all worked brilliantly.
I think the best compliment I can pay to someone who you know produces or directs a show, in particularly Tim and also Joey, is just that they were inspiring. They gave us ideas, they turned us, you know, in certain ways. They were there to help, but overall they just sort of, you know, let loose this feeling which sort of like floated around and just touched everyone in various ways. Which was it's so hard to do. I don't know how they did it, but they did.
I don't think there was a single night where I couldn't laugh so hard it hurt or cry.
You meet your maker, you were